Hello, I'm Bill Serban, Director of the Center for Advancing Teaching and Learning at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. This is the second part of a presentation on working memory and cognitive load. Part 1 described working memory as a significant constraint on learning. There is often a mismatch between the amount of material we expect students to learn and their ability to process new information in working memory. The potential for cognitive overload is present not only in class during lectures and discussions, but outside of class as students read, study, and complete assignments. Part 2 focuses on how teachers can manage and reduce cognitive load to better support student learning. I will introduce 5 general strategies and explain how each can help to manage cognitive load. The challenge for you as a teacher is to decide whether and how to implement any of these with your students in your specific circumstances. A first strategy is to build on students' prior knowledge. What students already know about a topic, their prior knowledge, is their most important asset for new learning. Students can use what they know to make sense out of new information related to the topic. When there is a significant gap between students' prior knowledge and where the teacher starts, students may struggle, as if the topic is completely new to them. Instructors can reduce cognitive load by trying to bridge the knowledge gap. There are a number of ways to gauge students' prior knowledge, with a concept inventory, a pretest, or simply by asking students to write brief responses to a few key questions related to the new material. These help the instructor identify gaps, misconceptions, as well as the growing edge of student learning. The teacher can then decide whether and how to bridge the gap between students' understanding of the topic and the new content. This does not have to be overly complicated. The instructor could start each class with a 5-minute review to refresh the key ideas and point students to the relevant concepts for the day. The review or preview could be moved outside of class by making a short video that students respond to before class. Sometimes students have relevant prior knowledge but don't realize it. Reviews and previews can help activate or prime student thinking. A second way to manage load is to make it smaller by breaking up the material into more manageable chunks for students. Teachers tend to forget what it is like not to know the subject and often assume students can handle more new information than is reasonable. There is no rule of thumb about how much is too much, but as you get to know students, it is important to recognize when you are losing them by presenting too much material in a short period of time. During class, you can pause between segments and ask students to answer a question, write a summary, or discuss an idea with one another to help them think through key ideas before moving to a new segment. Third, teachers can reduce extraneous load by providing more coherent organization and eliminating irrelevant material in instruction. Disorganized information adds an extra burden for students who have to sort through it and put it together in some coherent form. Research has shown that students understand and remember well-organized material better than disorganized material. A fourth way to manage cognitive load is for students to develop automated routines and knowledge. An automated routine is a procedure that students practice over and over until they can do it automatically without much conscious thought. In other words, the routine now involves very little cognitive load. For example, when you first learned to multiply in elementary school, it took some mental effort. Learning the multiplication tables took time and a lot of practice, but eventually it got easier and easier and automatic, to the point where you no longer needed to think about how to multiply, you knew the answer automatically. Automated routines reduce load because they require very little processing, and they help make other tasks easier as well. Suppose you now have to multiply multi-digit numbers together. If you know the multiplication tables, the task is relatively easy. You just follow the procedure. But if you have to stop and think about how to multiply each of the numbers in the problem as you go, the task is tedious and much more difficult. Automated routines reduce cognitive load. Concepts and factual knowledge can be automated as well. Suppose there are 5 key concepts relevant to a unit of material. By asking students to overlearn these, they should be increasingly better able to recognize the ideas in class and build their understanding of them. Finally, we can reduce cognitive load by scaffolding complex processes. This means that we make complex processes simpler. For example, research shows that when students are first learning a new topic in math, that they will learn it more quickly if they have opportunities to study worked examples of math problems rather than working out problems on their own. A worked example is one in which there is a detailed solution shown. This scaffolding allows the student to study the entire solution and examine the procedure and concepts before they have to work problems on their own. An increasingly popular way to scaffold course material is by creating short videos to depict processes or ideas. Students can replay the video, pause where needed, and work through the material. The instructor can ask students to answer several questions after viewing the video to help students clarify or extend their thinking.